Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we are going to be returning to Unity of Command 2. We are going to be playing the Po Valley scenario, which is the second to last scenario in the Unity of Command 2 Grand Campaign. The Grand Campaign starts in North Africa, runs all the way up the Italian boot, switches over to Northern Europe, and allows you to fight the campaign across France, into the Low Countries, and into Germany. And it concludes with two battles, one in Italy, which is the sort of driving north to the northern border of Italy, and one driving to the Elbe. We can't do the Elbe one yet. We have to fight the Battle of Po Valley first. And so my intent here tonight is to get through the Battle of Po Valley, and then if we have time, also move on to the battle at the Danube, and so that we can get through this campaign and wrap it up, hopefully with a successful victory before moving on to other pastures, if you will. Following Unity of Command, I will probably do a Strategic Command World War I Let's Play series, which is just about to come out. And then I'd also like to look at a game that just entered early access about a week or so ago, called Plutocracy, which is a strategy game of kind of a robber baron strategy game that looks kind of interesting. And yeah, so with that being said, let's go ahead and jump in here. We've played Po Valley once, and we ran out of time and lost the scenario. And so just as a refresher, Po Valley, April 12th, 1945. German forces along the Gothic Line are disintegrating. A concentrated attack from the U.S. 5th and British 8th Army should make it only a matter of time before the Axis line collapses entirely. Once this is achieved, the Allies will look to spread out into the industrial heartland of Italy and toward the borders of Austria to the west. French divisions seek to retake territory lost to the Italians earlier in the war. All right, moving it forward. And yeah, Oriel, I plan to play as the Central Powers. I don't want to be reactive. I want to be the one holding all the initiative. In a game about World War I think it's important that you play as a side that controls the initiative. Too much of the early war is passive, and that can be interesting. I know there have been a couple of channels. I know I was trying to think of who was doing that. I think it was Richard York is doing a playthrough as France, which can be fine. But in my opinion, I want to be driving the action, so I'm planning on playing as the Central Powers. And Moose Jaws, now you ruined my evening. Now I'm going to be worrying about whether he's going to strip out the inner parts of the watch, even though that wouldn't make a lot of sense. It's like a $2,000 watch, even as old as it is. But anyway, we're not talking like 20 grand. All right. Po Valley scenario briefing. Axis forces have at long last reached a breaking point. U.S. mountain troops have, alongside the Brazilian expeditionary forces, broken through the Apennines west of Bologna. This breach will allow the 5th Army armor to outflank this position and run wild in the Po Valley. Your orders are to flood the Po Valley and charge toward the Austrian and former Yugoslav borders. The following units have been reconstituted by AFHQ after being destroyed in battle. The 34th USID, 2nd New Zealand Division, 85th USID, 6th South African Armored, 10th Indian ID. Okay, so that's the scenario right now. We have 11 turns, and we have 6 objectives, so quite a few objectives that we need to take. We need to take La Spezia over here on the left flank. Along the coast, we need to take Savonia. We also have secondary objectives at Torino, and then there's one other secondary objective at Villach, which is somewhere out this way, somewhere up here. So there's 2 secondary objectives, Villach and Torino. The primary objectives, La Spezia, Savonia, Milano. Where else? Where are the other ones? I think the other ones are Trento over here, Undine, and Trieste. Okay. All right, so that being said, we've got troops up here in the northwest at Nice that are going to be moving south, presumably on Savonia, if we can get them there. We've got some troops up in the mountains up here. I don't know if these are the Brazilians or not. No, these are Free French mountaineers who could move on Torino as well. And then we've got the mainline forces down here that are trying to break through the mountain ranges here. So I think if we take a look at the troops that we have in place, God, these guys only have 1 step. So many of these troops are so battered from when we fought against the Germans and Italians further south in Italy that they're apparently carrying over a number of casualties that are making things a little bit more difficult here. I'm going to spend some prestige. It's the second to last battle, so there's not a ton of point in saving prestige. And some of these troops are pretty green anyway, so I don't think it hurts that much to you know, up armor them. South African armor. These guys are all pretty inexperienced anyway. Did someone say Texas? Thank you very much for the follow. It's like, what's that name? Yeah, Sir Musha, I don't think, I mean, again, it's a $1,500 to $2,000 watch. It is old, it is an antique, it is a classic. It's a very good watch, but I don't think the inner workings of the watch are really worth that. And they've got a pretty good reputation and have been around forever, so. This isn't a beach. This is a Unity of Command 2 stream. I don't know what that means, but okay. Yeah. This is true. Nightlife, thank you for the follow as well. These guys are regulars. Like, if they're regulars, I don't see the point in why we wouldn't just give them a little bit of extra pop, right? All right. I think that's everybody, right? All right, so let's go ahead and move forward. All right. So there's a German line here in the east. There's some plains here. I think the real focus has to be for us to, first off, we've got to get across this river here in the north. This is a major river, so it is an obstacle for us to get across. Once we get across it, we want to drive east to Undine and Trieste, but we also do need to leave enough forces to the west of that section to take Trento and Milano. There are no objectives in the south here along this front. The one objective that we do have is at La Spezia over here on the left flank, and so I think we are going to move some troops over this way, and then we're going to go ahead and we are going to, I think we're going to keep these guys in place, right? Or we could, I don't want to bomb them. We'll leave these guys in place in front of La Spezia. Meanwhile, in the south over here, I'm just going to go ahead and bombard these guys. That's not going to do anything. So let's advance these guys. I want to try and cut these troops off here on the right flank. I just don't know how to go about doing it. So we'll go ahead and, oh, there's infantry there too. Jeez. All right, well, there's a lot of infantry here in the north. We'll move these guys over to the west. So I'm not quite sure those troops in the northeast or northwest are going to be any use. Meanwhile, the troops over here. All right, these guys can actually attack at Oda 2 without even an artillery barrage, so we'll do that. I don't want to take those casualties if I don't have to. So I think we'll advance with these. All right, we'll take one. All right, so just like that, we're threatening the enemy rear here. We're cutting the rail line to their troops at Bologna, although they do have another rail line a little bit further to the east. But that's the objective here. We've attacked, we've destroyed an enemy unit, and we've raced forward here in sort of central Italy to threaten their supply lines. Okay, meanwhile on the east, I think what we want to do is attack here. We've got Oda 2. We can get troops across. We've also got these troops over here, so we're going to go ahead and bombard these guys. We'll hurt their support. Oda 2 again. We'll move north here to cut their rail line. Move these guys to the east. And now we'll go ahead. We've got some artillery here, so we'll go ahead and bombard these guys. That's Oda 2. So actually with these guys, we're going to swing around west. So now, by the way, taking this, this supply depot is knocked out because it doesn't have rail line to reinforce the supply. This armor only has 2 steps. That kind of sucks. All right, these guys are already kind of suppressed. These tanks are going to move west. We're going to attack these infantry. Inflict some casualties on them. Move forward here and take some prisoners. Move these troops up. Okay. What do I want to do? No. Move them west. Alright, I took a casualty there, but I did drive those men back. And... oops. Did I want to do that? Alright, no I don't. Move that armor here. 2 KA and cornered. Alright. Well, we took some casualties there, but we did wear these guys down pretty well. Alright, so we've, I wouldn't say broken through, but we are pushing forward across this river here. Hopefully more quickly than the enemy can withdraw. And... I think I'd like to get in behind... Let's try and bomb these guys. 2 KIA, that was a very effective air raid there. And the armor just attacked and wiped out the enemy to their front. We move these guys along that rail line here. And we'll hold off on attacking here. So I think it looks like... well, these guys still somehow have supply, I guess, from this depot over here to the right flank. So the troops on the right still have supply. I can't get into the town yet, but... I'm not going to attack there to take those casualties if we don't need to. We'll keep these troops in place, so we'll see what all happens in the north. Meanwhile, in terms of cards, what do we have to play? We've got extra transports. We don't really need the extra supply at this time. So we'll kind of keep that, we won't use those cards at the moment. We'll go ahead and advance to turn number 2. I think that was a pretty successful first turn. Too bad I killed every allied airborne unit in Market Garden. Yeah, that was a rough go. You know, that was not my finest hour. So those German troops are retreating to the east. All right, again, the key is getting across this major river here. So if we can get a crossing, that would be great. All right, so what do we want to do here? These guys are surrounded, so we'll go ahead and finish them off. Advance there and attack and destroy that guy. So these guys did some good work. They did take some casualties, but they destroyed 2 enemy units in a single turn. Alright, meanwhile, this armor is going to swing... What I think what we do is we take Milano, and then we just drive east. If we can't... well, maybe not. That'll take a little bit more time. There's no... let's try and bomb this Spezia. Great. City in ruins. Just what we want. That was dumb. But we can actually... well, we can't quite cut supply to the city yet. Alright, those guys are going to advance this way. These guys will advance on that enemy depot. Oh, nice. They get an Oda 2 there, too. So these guys can actually cross the major river here. This is the major river right here, right? Ah, they can't cross it. Alright, so the armor will advance there and finish off those enemy troops, then move west and capture them. Looks like there's an enemy mechanized force here between us and them. All right, we've got 0 to 3 there, so I'll do that. Swing west. We've got to figure out a way to get across this river efficiently. All right. Okay. Alright, they'll get O to 2. I know usually wiping out the enemy isn't the primary concern, but with a large front and a very busy map, I do think it's important to destroy the enemy because they're not going to be getting reinforcements really. And so if we destroy them, that's going to go a long way toward making our life easier and breaking out. All right. So that moves most of these troops around over here. These guys, I don't know what we're going to do with La Spezia now that it's ruins. Alright. I'm going to try and cut these guys off from supply. Meanwhile, while we're doing that, we'll see about bombarding them. Didn't do anything. Advance over here on Torino. That's another major river that's between us and them, though, so it's going to be challenging. But, yeah. So that'll do it for turn number 2. We'll move to turn number 3. Right, those guys are cut off. They did just, I think, cut our supply by advancing toward Bologna. So that's a temporary nuisance. They pulled their half-track back there. Did they just give us access across this river? Yes, they did. Oh, yeah. They let us get across the major river here, leaving this bridge intact. There we go. Prisoners. All right, so we can move on Milano now as well. But we've got troops across here near Verona, and that's key. Getting this bridgehead here is absolutely vital. All right, these guys can attack O to 3. So we can't attack across this bridge, but what we can do is we can see about building a pontoon bridge, because apparently we can build pontoon bridges now. I don't understand why it was always so difficult before, but it does look like we can build pontoons across hostile beachheads now, or bridges or whatever. Hostile rivers. Maybe because there's no enemy troops opposite of it. I don't quite understand that, but we'll have 2 pontoon bridges here. And so that will make getting at these guys much easier. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and bombard these guys. 2 support gone, so then you can attack and destroy them. Take those guys as prisoners. Alright, so all our troops are moving up here, ready to cross. Meanwhile, enemy armor's facing us outside Verona, so I'm going to go ahead and hit that with my air. We'll take out most of the unit support. We don't destroy them, but we do suppress them and drive them back. All right. Meanwhile, our armor moving west toward Milano has been stopped or at least delayed by enemy infantry. It looks like La Spezia is cut off from supply because they are on a railway, but the railway to the north has been cut by our armor driving on Milano, and the railway to the west actually runs back. Well, I'm not sure about that. Oh, yes! So you can see here our armored thrust toward Verona cut this rail line, which feeds Milano. So actually, because of the way the Italian rail lines are structured, the entire western portion of this map is now cut off from supply. So Verona is an absolutely vital... Verona and Milano are vital rail hubs for the entire Italian supply network. And so by advancing our armor here, we have effectively cut all of the rails moving from the east to the west, and there are no off-map supply points for the Italians coming along the northern front. We own the western border. The northern front, I'm assuming this is Switzerland, so there's no supply coming down there. There's no railways until coming off the eastern border till you get over here toward the edge of the map toward Yugoslavia or up toward Austria. And there is supply coming down there, but all that supply flows east to west through Verona, and we've cut that east to west rail line. So that's a very good outcome for us. By the way, Martin Gaming Os, thank you very much for the follow. Okay, so now, not that I'm going to do anything about it right now, but now we actually can kind of just, the troops in Western Italy, we can kind of just wait till they starve. I don't even need to do that. Why did I do that? I don't even need to move these troops over here to cut them off, because they're already cut off. Okay. All right, meanwhile, they did blow the bridge to Torino. So this is a major roadway. I don't have any headquarters up here in the north. Well, actually, I do have the army. I have the Alp army, but the Alp army apparently doesn't have the ability to build pontoon bridges. So these guys, to get at Torino, are going to have to march all the way to the east, cross this bridge. Hopefully the enemy doesn't destroy it, and then move on to Torino. But actually, even their troops in Milano are probably going to be out of supply eventually. It looks like they probably have a depot there right now, but that will be eventually cut off from supply as well. Hey, Sim Caesar, hope you're doing well. So that's a very, very good outcome for us in the long run. Okay, so we're going to move our U.S. headquarters, the 5th Army, forward a little bit. We're going to move the British headquarters forward to Bologna. And everything should be... Well, these guys aren't in supply. So let's go ahead and put a supply depot down up here at the front to support the advance into Verona. And almost all of our troops here at the front are in supply. We do have some troops that are not. Additionally, because we are advancing the way that we are, there's probably not a lot of value in maintaining these depots back here. This depot, we'll cut the supply there too. And so we're going to get 2 depots back. I will actually, even this one we don't even need. So I'm going to cut all 3 of those. These guys are going to be out of supply, but that's fine. So all 3 of those depots were cut, so then we can go ahead and continue to advance the supply, setting new depots up closer to the front. Okay. Yeah, Sim, I can understand why it's not in the Steam sale, given that they just released the game like less than a month ago, but I hear you. I think Unity of Command 1 is probably on sale, though. Ah, they just swung in behind us. Sneaky German armor just cut our supply. Well, actually, no, I don't think they cut our supply because we still have a depot there, right? Oh, nope, they did. Crap. All right. And I can't attack across that river. Can I bomb these guys? Nice. Well, that was fortunate. Our air raid just destroyed the enemy armor. I probably could have actually just done this and supplied them instantly like that. Alright. So as we drive east, we'll launch a feint on these guys. That knocks out 2 of their support. This armor now can attack with an O to 2. Drive them back. This infantry can now advance with an 0-1. Drive them back further. And just like that, we've unbuckled their entire river defense line. Alright, these guys are on the wrong side of a major river, but they can shoot their artillery across, as the troops on the left flank cross this pontoon bridge and overrun and destroy this enemy force. Meanwhile, these troops also behind a river. Actually, no, they're at the front of the line, so they don't... But these guys on the other side of the river can go ahead and bombard these troops. Turns that city into ruins. Go 0-1, overrun them. And just like that, we're across. And ready to go. Nice. Okay, so we are... I think we're going to have good supply there, but we'll go ahead and bring this depot forward as well to bring supply to the eastern advance. These guys move onto that rail line. These guys will move over here. Alright, they'll expand the front over here and get back into supply. They don't need to stay on this rail line. Meanwhile, this German position is still out of supply over here, so they've been out of supply for 2 days, so I'm going to continue to just kind of sit and wait for these guys to starve. I guess it's just 1 turn, but in any event. These guys have been out of supply for 2 turns. Go ahead and bombard them. Doesn't do any good. Move these guys back over here. Move these guys on a long march along tenuous roadways at best. We still have a supply depot up here. We can go ahead and drop here. I don't think the Germans can actually do a pontoon bridge and go take this depot, so that's a safe depot, I think. You can see all of these supply locations in the west are all cut off for supply. As long as we hold this rail line at Verona, we are set. Okay, so we're going to continue that advance, and we'll move forward to turn number 5. It's just really now, at this point, it feels more like a race. Can I get there in time? Hey, Kushin. And I do think destroying the units that we did destroy... I did bombard Lespasia, I think. It's already in ruins in any event. Okay. Okay, so there's German troops in Trento. We just advanced our armor that way. Meanwhile, we're advancing our other troops over in this direction. To the east, toward the other objectives that way. Okay. Okay, so as we advance, let's do this. Let's use our air power to hit this mechanized formation. And then, didn't quite destroy it, but we did damage it. So our armor there took some casualties, which I wasn't thrilled about. We're driving in Trento, which is that secondary objective. Go ahead and launch a feint against Milano. Bring a depot down here in the west. Meanwhile, several German units here cut off for multiple turns. Bombard. It's already in ruins, but it doesn't seem like bombarding them is making any progress. Meanwhile, these guys are surrounded and without supply. So we just finished off that enemy unit. Meanwhile, these guys are going to advance on Savonia. These guys, I think, have to protect this supply depot over here. All right. I could actually use these guys to go help out Milano as well. But we're about halfway through, and I think we're making a much more efficient advance than we were last time. Okay, so let's go ahead and move forward. Poor Germans fighting for a country that's done. Yep. That seems about right. I mean, to be fair, they're not doing a lot of fighting. They're mostly running. Hey, Radar, thank you very much for the subscription. I appreciate the support. All right, so there's troops at Trento. Let's do that. These guys to support 2 KIA. God damn it, I keep taking unnecessary casualties. I'll take those prisoners, though, as we drive east, almost to Undine. We don't even really need that city here at Venezia. Let's advance a couple of units on Trento, just to be safe. Alright, so these guys are completely out of supply. So we don't have any artillery there to help. Meanwhile, La Spezia also completely out of supply. So apparently we get... Well, I don't know. But we took La Spezia, so we took our first enemy city. 2 KA, we lost 1 there. Alright, so we drove them back. Meanwhile, these guys were able to cross the river, so that's good for us. We'll move toward Savonia. Again, the enemy's out of supply, so we'll take that base. Second objective taken. These guys should be starving to death, so they should be pretty much out of supply soon too. And all these guys can move east with time to help take Milano as well. Somehow Milano still has supply. I'm not quite sure why. Okay. All right, we'll go for Milano next turn, I think. We already took Savonia, so we've taken all of those. I mean, we can try bombing Trento, but it might put the city in ruins. No, it didn't. We just didn't do anything effectual. Alright. Can we... Nope, they're out of range. So I guess we're going to move the headquarters forward. I don't know what the name of that town is, but it looks like a town on a rail line, so we'll move them forward there. Move these guys to Verona. Alright. So let's keep moving. Keep on keeping on. What podcast do I know about? Oh, Radar knows about podcasts. Well, thanks, Radar. I appreciate it. All right, so these guys fell back. Thank you for giving me that town without a fight. We're going to pound these guys with artillery. It does say we can get 0 to 3, though. Still, I'm going to pound them. Maybe that was the wrong decision. I don't know. How about you fall back and get some supply, guys? We can go advance on that base also. Meanwhile, you're going to advance. Alright, so we're advancing on Undine. I think we're doing well over there. What's the supply situation look like? So we can advance to there without risk. Take those prisoners, advance these guys over here. Take those starving prisoners. This is just like a wasteland of starved out Italian soldiers. Everything is like there's no actual fighters left. Two suppression. Like, how are you supposed to cut these guys off? We have the city completely surrounded, and yet somehow, I don't know, maybe they're flying supply in. I don't know. Alright, we'll use these air against these half tracks, and that did nothing. Alright, so moving to turn number 8. Starting to get a little bit too close for comfort, honestly. We're closing in on turn 11, and I still have quite a few objectives to take. That makes me a little uneasy. But we've got 8, 9, 10, 11. We've got 4 more turns. And we're pretty close from a geographic location to the enemy bases. So that should help. I guess we're going to bomb Trento and see what happens. Destroyed 1, but the city is in ruins. Crap. Alright. Maybe we can keep the suppression down next turn, I'm not sure. Looks like Milano, however, will fall. That's ours. So another base falls to us. More prisoners. More prisoners. Alright, so we've now linked up with those rail lines. Oh, crap. These guys have no supply. They're gonna starve to death. Maybe they can work their way back toward these guys. Actually, I can spend a card. No. Oh, I can't go back far enough. Alright, well, those guys may starve over there. We'll see. Alright, so Milano fell. Trento hopefully will fall next turn. Okay, we overran those troops, crossed the river toward Undine, attacked here, no retreat, and breached the city. So we got their fortifications to go away. And we'll take those prisoners, then we'll go ahead and attack these guys. Alright, meanwhile, we need to move the headquarters forward. So we will feint at them. No retreat, 1 support. One to one. Alright, British 8th Army still has everybody in Hawk. We'll go ahead and move these guys as well. And there you have it. Alright. Alright, so we're moving to turn number 9. We're adjacent to Undine, so we've got 3 more turns to take 2 more objectives. Okay. Yeah, it's 1945. Oh, the fact that it's after the armistice, I guess. Should have done bombardment with those guys. Alright, that should cut supply to these guys, if they still had it. Okay. Alright, so by moving here, I cut Undine's supply, which was the objective of that maneuver. So 1-to-1, 1-to-1. I'll just do it. I'll just take the casualties. I gotta remove this threat to my flank. Okay, we'll hit these guys with air. It's 1 KIA. These guys. Okay, so we're going to have turn 10 and 11 to take Trieste and Undine. We'll at least have cut the supply to Undine, but Trieste is going to be a little bit of a tough nut. We'll see if we can take Taranto. I think we should be able to. You know, these guys, they're not in supply? Oh, I guess there's no rail link there. Now they should be. Yeah. Okay. There's no rail link there. Okay, so we'll link up with these guys. That gives us a railway connection. Well, apparently not. Alright, now you've got a railway connection. You'll go take these guys prisoner. You'll take this secondary objective. This armor is going to blitz all the way to the west. Depot back here is pointless, so we'll cut that. And we'll have 2 more turns to finish off Trento. And hopefully move on Trieste. Hey, Super Chacho. Hope you're doing well tonight. Okay. So, why is this guy in the way? I'm launching feints here in an effort to reduce the enemy's effectiveness without turning the city to ruins. There we go. Okay, so we took the city, drove north, Meanwhile, these guys are going to drive south to be adjacent to Trieste. We'll go ahead and hit this with air. That'll get 2 Ks. 2 more there. Okay. Nice. Support and breached. So move here, here, attack. Cordon destroyed. This objective has fallen now with a turn left. Meanwhile, these guys, there's no way they're getting back west or east in time. Alright, so supplies all over there. None of these troops matter anymore. I guess they can go make sure in case there's some garrison or whatever. Meanwhile, we're going to move these guys forward. Got a supply depot we're going to put down here to keep these guys in supply. Question is whether we can actually take Trieste. I doubt we will, actually. I think we might lose this thing again. This is going to be really frustrating if we lose this battle again. 1 turn shy. Okay. Well, this says they can attack 0 to 2. Nice! Thank God they have no morale left and they're willing to retreat. So that should be a victory. Overrun. Can we get to that secondary? Yes! We took all the secondary. Well, we didn't take the secondaries yet. Now we took all the secondaries. Woo! That was out of nowhere, man. Out of nowhere. All of the secondaries were ours. All of the primaries. All with a turn to spare. I want to advance these guys to try and take these prisoners, but that feels like tempting fate, so we won't do that. Can I bomb prison? No. Okay, so it should just be a victory. We did it, boys! Alright. Primary objectives taken on time, 21 enemy KIA, 53 prisoners, moderate casualties on our end, a 409 score. That is a victory. Alright, guys, and that's it. That is the second to last scenario. We have one scenario left, End at the Elbe, which is the Allied drive to link up with the Soviet forces just west of Berlin along the Elbe River. There's one scenario left in our Unity of Command 2 Let's Play series. It will at least start in episode 30. We may do 2 episodes. It depends how quickly the scenario goes. I have played through it during this stream once and lost. It is a very challenging scenario from a logistical perspective, and it's an interesting scenario, I think, to watch. But that will be for next time. Until next time, guys, I do appreciate you continuing to tune into the channel and support the channel. And as always, this is the Historical Gamer saying thank you for watching, and I'm out.